Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Cork Wars. First of all, I want to thank you, ToutSuite, to give us the opportunity of featuring some of the best sommeliers of Napa. This month, March, we had the pleasure of featuring Morimoto Napa and the sommelier, Eduardo Dingler.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Honor.
That's fantastic. Online, join us from south of San Francisco is John and Stacy, the members of Cork Wars. Good evening, guys. Thank you for joining. Let's get to that. I'm going to try to keep it short, about 15 minutes, and let's get into that. So, Eduardo, where are you from? And where are you born?
I was born in a little, about 1 million people city, central northern Mexico called Torreon. Very young city, about 100 years old. And the fun thing about it is right outside of the city, there's the oldest winery in America. That's what probably got me into wine unconsciously. I was born and raised there. Both of my families came from all over the world, as everything else. Very international city. Ended up in Napa 14 years ago, and I don't think I'll ever leave. It's beautiful. There's wine, there's everything you can ask for.
Yeah, that's a pretty special place here. So tell me a little bit why you become a sommelier.
So I think everybody thought I was weird when I was little because I used to go into the pantry of my grandma's and my mom's house and just smell things and just try to get familiar and just walk around and grab stuff, which is weird because that's what my son does now, unconsciously. Just getting into that and then just getting close to the wine from the sense of having it so close. And my parents used to drink just cheap Raider wine growing up every once in a while. So that got me into it. And then get into Napa and just exploding and naturally taking that side.
So, and before you went to Morimoto, where were you?
Before it was in Morimoto, I've been in a few places, mostly Italian in Napa Valley. I was at Don Giovanni's for a few years, which I attribute a lot of things. I was at Belarte, short-lived, or a few years, Sicilian restaurant by the river. I was at Trevino for a few years.
Oh, okay.
And lately at Piero,
okay,
right before, with Michael Galli.
So can you tell us a little bit, talk to us about the job interview you had with the Iron Chef. Did you have to meet him? And
well, it was a little unorthodox. Well, I got really lucky, as I said. Michael Gallian, who's our GM, I knew him from earlier.
Yeah.
He brought me on board, and I had a meeting with our CEO. That was our main approach. And on the first day I was in the office for the interview, for the official one, Chef Morimoto walked in, and it was just like a big thing. It was like seeing Santa Claus in a way. And he came up, shook my hand, said, "Welcome to the team." So I had the job by then. Yeah. And it was very exciting. But yeah, it's never a dull moment with Chef.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
But when did you have the opportunity of talking to him? Did he tell you about the philosophy of the restaurant, what he was looking for?
That came mainly from Michael. From Michael Gallian and our CEO, and just following Chef for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as direct interview, it was just shaking hands and introducing real quick. Yeah.
So let's talk about Morimoto and the restaurant itself. And I'm curious because you guys are serving like sushi and sashimis and that kind of thing. And what kind of limitations do you have, with the wine list on that? I mean, this is kind of it seems to me that it kind of restrained a little bit the selection.
It is funny because as you open the menu for the restaurant, the Morimoto Napa, it's a whole book. The sushi and sashimi are definitely a big part, and that's where Chef takes pride. He brings ingredients directly from the Tsukiji market. He comes every time he comes, every month or so. He makes sure it's like up to par. But on top of that, we have, thankfully, a big range of dishes that Chef Morimoto is known for, creativity-wise, where I like to say is Japan meets the rest of the world, because there's some dishes that incorporate a little Mexican, a little Indian, you name it. So dishes as the ones that we proposed for the Cork Wars, which are really exciting. You see a little bit of everything from all over the place: Korean, Mexican, Italian, even. So it's pretty exciting because on that side you have a wide range. You have a huge open canvas to play with wines and pairings.
Yeah.
But as far as the sushi goes, as you originally asked, the wasabi, the soy, the ginger, depending on how people like to play with it, because there's a traditional way where you just put a little soy sauce because the wasabi is already incorporated, and some people like to mix it with the soy. So then it gets tricky, and I've been blown by perhaps there's a Zinfandel that goes amazing with it, which I would have never thought. And the rest is very classic, non-oaked white wines, which do amazing.
Yeah. So from like those three ingredients, so wasabi, sauce, and ginger, because you still have the ginger too, like, very
absolutely.
kind of. What is the from all those ingredients? What is, in your opinion, the most challenging?
Wow, that's a tough one. Probably wasabi, because putting a little spice, wasabi, or even some of the ginger when it's fresh, you need a little sweetness to kind of attack the spice. Soy could be very delicate to play with because it's really salty. Yeah. So by having the sweet and spicy, and sweet on the wine, the spicy, and the salt, you definitely scream a little Riesling or Alsatian Riesling, a Gewürztraminer, or anything that has a little bit of sweetness and texture.
So for our viewers, and if someone were to come to the restaurant, and let's say you're not available, and they're looking at the wine list, what are the keys of success of picking the right beverage to go with the dish?
Well, we take a lot of pride in the restaurant and following Michael Gallian's teachings, where we train all the staff. I do mandatory meetings every so often. Every day we have a 15, 20-minute, up to 30-minute pre-shift talk where we go in detail, not only about food, but beverages. We try to get everybody involved, taste the wines, the sakes. And so in the event that you go and I'm not there, the server is going to be just as capable, otherwise the other managers, bartenders. We have a raid where we test often, and people get really excited, which is the main thing. We love to pass on the experience of the beverage to the guests.
What this is Napa Valley, and very often people will come to a restaurant and bring their own wine. And what is your perception of what kind of the varietal that you see coming back often from people that bring their own wines?
Well, naturally from Napa, Cabernet is king. So some people just don't realize, or that's where they went for wine tasting, and they show up with a bottle of Cab. So then it becomes a fun challenge if they're interested in pairing. They either start with something else to do the sushi and all the varietal. Otherwise, you go for the steak, which we have a great program on steaks. We have Wagyu.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have an amazing Wagyu. The ban was just lifted. We had a few months ago. Outstanding. We sell it by the ounce. It just melts in your mouth. And then we also have dry aged and wet aged. So you get your choice. And a lot of people claim some of the best steak in the valley, which we're really proud of. So.
Well, I bet you I bet you guys, you rather would have had a Wagyu or dry aged steak, rather than the tuna pizza or the
crab.
The crab, yeah. It was a tough one for us because we are not real big fish lovers. So, but we wanted to try to tackle the dish, and it was a blast doing so. Getting the ingredients and stuff and cooking together, and it came out nice, and it had some nice flavors to it. And what was paired with it was nice. The mango touch salad. It was really nice, and the wine went really nice with the dish. And we found ourselves really enjoying the wine. Not being crab lovers, it's kind of unfair for us to make a call on it, but it was quite an experience to try to find all the specialty items on the menu, and we had a good time, and didn't get in a fight or anything. We just enjoyed ourselves cooking and trying to find the ingredients.
So tell us a little bit about the exercise itself of finding the ingredients. I mean, that because some of those like ingredients that you give us or you give them were kind of a little bit challenging. That's very exotic. I mean, Japanese cuisine.
And let me budge in there and just give a quick overall. Out of our whole menu, I spent a few days or hours looking at what we could do for this, because we've been blamed of having dishes that can't be replicated at home. And I broke my head. I lost a lot of hair thinking about this because it's hard. And believe me, those two I put in there was the most accessible out of the ingredients and techniques that we could have proposed for this game. I wanted to make it somewhat easier. You can't do like a whole lamb and then cut it this way and cook and mousse and this and that. It's just a little mind blowing.
So how accessible was it?
Well, and that's part of the novelty of the restaurant is you can go there for that experience, right? It's something you can't duplicate. But when we went searching, we went to an Asian market. We had never been to one. Walked in, and not being fish lovers, it smelled like fish. And the second we walked in, and it was really fun, though. I mean, they had fresh fish, fresh frogs in buckets. It was crazy. We couldn't read anything, so it was like a treasure hunt.
But we went all over the East Bay. I mean, we had to look for the fish eggs, and I think we saw Tobacco up in. There was some in Emeryville. We went to Pleasanton. Went to Danville. At some point, I having not bought king crab, didn't know what to expect, and we looked all over.
Everywhere had it.
Yeah, and no one had it. So we find it somewhere, a little bit further inland, and these things are like 22 inches long and quite expensive. So then I'm like, I got to call D-Day because I don't know what the hell he's gotten me into here.
So we had four like 2-foot crab legs.
Yeah, they were huge.
And I said, "Are you sure we need this? Because it's like $40 a pound, and we don't even eat fish." And we showed him a picture. He's like, "No, you just need the little, like the
first portion, yeah."
Yeah.
And went to sushi bars to find the tobacco, and they were more than willing. They actually gave us the tobacco.
Well, we told them we were going to be on TV. Yeah, we're going to be on TV.
It's for Morimoto's recipe. The wine pairing that I said, "Here, take it." And grilling crab, we'd never done. That was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't expect to be grilling crab any time in my life, but nevertheless I was, and it was a pleasure to do. It was something new for us to taste, and and on that level we enjoyed it. It was a great time for us, and of course, anytime we could do something with the man sitting to your right there, we jump at the chance.
You're too kind. Thank you very much. Enough of that. At least you guys earn like 500 corks. So that's great,
I gotta say the presentation made me mouth water. The presentation you guys had, it was outstanding. So.
Oh wow!
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, the restaurant definitely has a good presentation.
That was really hard too. So after everything's done, we were so excited, and then we went to present it, and we both went back and forth, trying like, this looks good. No. And then we'd rearrange it, wipe off the dish, do it again.
Yeah.
And so finally, at the end, it's like, okay, we can both live with this. Because it looks so beautiful in the picture. But, and the spicy mayonnaise, that we could use. I feel like we would use that again.
Yeah.
And other dishes.
That was
really good.
Vegetables or anything, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So, talking about the dish, what was the reason with your wine choices?
The wine pairing. So, I'll talk about the Abraxas first since we're on this one. It's a one little square in Carneros where they Robert Sinski planted Pinot Gris, Pinot Blanc, Gewürztraminer, and Riesling. And whatever each year gives them, that's what the blend is. This year being mainly Riesling makes a lot of sense for the spice. So as you can smell in the nose, a little honeysuckle and white flowers and whatnot. I thought it was outstanding. It hugs the dish and it gives it layering and brightness. So it's very exciting. Unfortunately, it's very small production. That's the only trick with it, which every year I ask them why not expand, but they're tied in. And it's a pretty fun dish. I mean, and wine. It's just hand in hand.
Was this already on the menu, Eduardo, or is this something you found to pair with this dish?
Oh, I've had this wine since day one. I've had it by the glass 2.5 years ago when we opened. Right now, due to a smaller production, I took it off print. However, I'm pairing it with the tasting menu, so it's naturally available by the glass now. So, but it makes a lot of sense.
The lemon in it too was really nice with the seafood. So just like the mango salad, the wine also balanced out. Not being big fish fans, the wine balanced it out too. It was really delicious.
Yeah, I love the acidity on this one, yeah.
Yeah,
there is a little sweetness into that, but it's beautiful. I mean, it's really, really, and it's not heavy. I mean,
no, you can drink buckets of it.
What about the pizza?
So the tuna pizza, the dish is one of chef's first. Actually, the king crab was first, but then the tuna pizza made him pretty famous as well. And it's just a layer and introducing jalapenos, Tabasco, his hometown, having the maguro tuna and the anchovy and all this stuff. So for that, I love the Joseph Kent, which is another one I've had for at least 1.5 years by the glass. It's two guys that met in New Orleans, hence the name Vieux Carré. Ken Jarman, who's a winemaker for Somerson, Kenneth Ranch, and a few other wineries, got together with Mitch Boyd, two pretty young guys, and started this one. They're sourcing the fruit from Kenneth Ranch in Calistoga, and it's mainly Grenache Blanc, a little Marsanne, and in some years there's a little Viognier, which adds a little texture and viscousness to it.
Exotic.
Very exciting. But in this case, just a straight two varietals from the climate. It's outstanding. It has a sharp back-edge mineral lemon peel, which is a natural fit for a lot of our dishes. It's usually just a poker.
This thing is like a sleeping. It's just like a really
just cut through.
Definitely. So something is okay, fine. There is some great white wine work with sushi, but when people think about Japanese, they think also sake.
Absolutely.
So what is the sake program at
Well, since we started, we've had a pretty extensive list of sakes. We have roughly between 40 and 50 at any given time, plus Chef Morimoto's line, and it's amazing. Just got certified together with a couple of my coworkers, and it's amazing the layering that you can find from a beverage that's just rice, water, mold, and yeast. That's all it takes, but you can do different polishings, different filtrations. It could be from a different area where the water is really mineral or sharp. And I like to say, as I told my staff recently, yesterday actually, out of the 40, 50 sakes we have at any given point, there's not one that's identical to the other one, which is, it's outstanding. It's pretty fun.
So how do you think that your clientele? You think your clientele is knowledgeable about sake, or you have like a lot of...
but just as me as when we opened the restaurant, I was the guy that would get to the sushi bar, mom and pop's kind of place, and order hot sake and order my edamame and whatnot, which is what most people do, and it's part of the special thing about the sushi places. But once we started, it just starts opening the doors to everything. So a lot of our clientele, it's either medium or on the lower side. But it's very exciting for us to educate, to share all the knowledge. And because Japan, as a sake production, it's so small right now, and they're trying to expand new generations and expand other countries, which U.S. is one of the stronger ones. But we're always trying to be ambassadors for that.
So talking about the other country, I understand that Morimoto is also expanding, and so there is a couple of how many Morimoto there is in the U.S. Right
so
now?
there is 6. There's Philadelphia, which opened on 01. New York, we opened here in 2010. Waikiki, and we just opened a smaller sort of a tapas concept in Tribeca, New York, called Canvas. We opened also Mexico City. Chef Morimoto had priorly opened in Mumbai, in India, and also in Tokyo.
Wow.
A few years ago.
And any other future
in the horizon? I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I think it's fair. Qatar is on the way, perhaps.
Okay.
So we're very excited about that in Doha, and from there we'll move on into.
But it won't be any wine in Qatar, though.
That's what I hear. I've been studying the liquor laws, and I think unless we find a loophole, we're going to be tied in, and I won't have a job over there.
Yeah. What is the what is the future of Eduardo? I mean, are you going to be really involved and maybe become like a little bit Michael? Become the person in charge of
big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
However,
but for the wine program and all that.
For the wine program, yes. Since I took over the whole list about 2 years ago now, I think the opportunities have opened. Yeah. And lately we just got a promotion, which together with all the properties we're opening in the next 2 years, I'm going to be taking over the beverage, which is really exciting. Awesome. Hard to believe still. Very excited. So
that's pretty cool.
We're doing cocktails and sake and beverage. Of course, each property having their own person in charge, but going overall and passing all the knowledge, which is the most exciting thing. So.
I bet you your family from Mexico must be very proud of you, man.
Absolutely,
awesome.
It's really good.
That's congratulations. One more thing, a little bit more a touchy on the subject is what is your opinion on the right etiquette on the wine tipping in the restaurant?
Well, I think the wine tipping comes together with the service that comes with it and the care that you take for the wine. You buy a bottle of whether it's a $20 white wine or it's a $300 Cabernet. That wine got taken with care. It's cellared. It got ideally opened properly, decanted. There was a little explanation or a story with it, and pouring it and whatnot. So I think it deserves the same as the food, which would be ideally a 20%.
What about for people who bring the wine in?
Ideally, the same. So we do have a corkage fee in the restaurant, which is waived bottle by bottle. Mm-hmm. The trick here, which I don't tell everybody, we have bottles of sake or wine which are $20, mm-hmm. And so you can buy a bottle and take it home. Yeah. And the corkage is $25, so it's pretty fair. Yeah. But at the same time, our markups are really low. Yeah. And we try to keep that going rather than getting more expensive in the wine and the sake and the cocktails. We want to keep it low and just be respectful of it. We totally understand and embrace people that bring a very special bottle of wine or sake. There's a few of our guests that do. And we applaud it. We take the best care out of it, and just it's a deal. So if John and Ceci were to buy a bottle of sake, what kind of other food? Is that like really specific to sushi, or can you? No, this is one of the coolest thing I've learned in the last year. You can pair sake with Italian food, with Mexican, you name it. Yeah. Even there's sakes for steak. We have a koshu style, which is aged sake, and it just takes into this development and complexity, almost like a Cabernet translated into sake, caramelization. But no, there's also sakes aged in cedar or oak, which are a little more avant-garde doji masters or brew masters. And it's amazing, the range that you can find on the levels. There's I just tasted some sake from Texas, actually. And it was like, it smelled like smoked barbecue ribs. And you could do it with the ribs any day. It was something else. To put in. Exactly. It was crazy. So, all right. So this is the first installment of Cork Wars. Thank you very much for joining us. John, Ceci, feel free to stay a little bit more. We're going to just cut the live stream. Eduardo, congratulations. Thank you very much. That was fantastic to have you. Thank you. And next month we'll be featuring the Fagiani and Philip Abram. And it's going to be like a really fun too. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and ToutSuite, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you. So thank you, Eduardo. Cheers. Cheers.
Salud. I have a question for you, Eduardo.
Yes, please.
So, was it hard for you to incorporate miso or sake, not miso, but sake into your palate as far as wine being a sommelier?
At first it was. It's still hard for me to just sit down and drink sake as I drink wine or a cocktail. But with food, it just has become very natural. Actually, often we sit down, the management team or when chef's in town, Chef Morimoto, and we sit down and just bring 2-3 sakes and try them with the food. And it just becomes really natural, and just you start getting into textures and acidity and sweetness. So it's become, it was an easy transition, but it's still sitting down at the house by myself or with friends. It's hard to just do it by itself. You need the food factor.
But this is your first experience doing this with sake, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's been almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was the first one.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating not being a big sake drinker. To go in there, because we love Morimoto's, and it's one of our favorite places to go eat. And so we usually order wine. And actually, I was going to say, do you do the cocktails as well, or the bartender?
Well, we have a really strong mixologist team, and we all put our own cocktails in there, and we meet very often and try to see what we tweak around and make the best out of it. Yeah, but it's a team effort.
We took like an hour, like about,
we have all night.
Drink like a great show.
Yeah, some of the best cocktails I've had have been there.
Yeah. Thank you. Probably the White Lily or the Casual Encounter.
Yeah, I think it was the White Lily.
Yeah. But let me know when you guys are coming, and I'll set you in a few fun sakes and open
That'd be great. Yeah, it's a little intimidating, but I'd love to try it. And do you find a difference between hot and cold sake? That's another question.
It does change it a lot. Actually, when you have a little more impurities in the sake, you heat it up, and it brings them down. And not only with bad or cheap sake, but it does a wide range of stuff. So do the challenge and taste half hot, half cold, and it's night and day. And they're both really fun. They're just texturally different and notes. Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah,
maybe see you this weekend.
Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
All right, take care. Cheers.